Hi, I'm Cebi from the CV Geek Squad. Nice to meet you today, and congratulations on finishing your graduation at the University of Stellenbosch. Today I want to share with you 5 tips and strategies to get your career journey started. I want to take you through finding a job that's appropriate for you at your skill level and qualification level, discuss how to put together your CV, also how to construct a really compelling cover letter and sell yourself, and most of all, avoiding errors and mistakes that will get your CV tossed in the bin. So the first question you probably have when looking at classified ads is, should I apply for this job? The first thing to remember is that very often the job description that you see in the paper or on the website is an ideal description. There's usually no one who fits that description. Don't let that put you off and intimidate you. Also remember that applying for a job is not merely ticking off a list. You first need to consider, am I a good fit for this position? Does it match my level of skills? Does it match my qualifications? Do I have a passion for the work that the company does? If you can answer yes to these questions, then it's time to look very closely at the job spec and see how best you can respond to the ad. So you found a job that you want to apply for. There's a critical list of do's and don'ts that all job seekers need to observe. First, let's take a look at the do's. Make sure that through your training program, either certificates or degree, matches well with the applied skills that are required for the job. Second, make sure that you present your information in a logical fashion. Normally that means you put up front your personal details, followed by your education and a recent work history. Part of including your personal details means making sure that you use a professional email address. monkeylove78@hotmail.com just won't cut it. If you're not sure where to start with an email address, firstname.lastname@gmail or outlook.com is probably the safest bet. If you find that your name and surname combination is too popular and is taken, try using some of your middle initials to differentiate yourself. Next on your CV, make sure that you use action verbs. When I say action verbs, we want to demonstrate your competency and your ability to do things. It's not about communicating your potential. You can explain that in your cover letter. On your CV, you need to give concrete examples where you've practiced the skills that are required for the job in clear, measurable ways if possible. So for example, if one of your jobs was working at a takeaway outlet where you had to supervise others, it would be important to say supervised a staff of 10 instead of just saying supervised workers. That way you quantify the level of responsibility that you had and communicate confidence to your potential employer. In addition to presenting your CV in the correct format, please check to make sure that you apply the format, whichever you choose, consistently. There's nothing more irritating to a recruiter than to see one portion of your CV presented chronologically and another presented alphabetically. It screams disorganization. And then lastly, even though you might have a lot of information to share with your potential employer in terms of your skills, your language abilities, and your technical capacities, please keep it short and concise. Clarity will get you very far. Recruiters don't have a lot of time to go through lengthy CVs, particularly those that don't have a lot of substantive information. On your list of don'ts, in addition to correcting your email advice, please, please, please do not submit a cover sheet. It's not necessary and it just wastes paper. Another critical don't, once you have your CV completed, make sure you tailor it to each and every job application that you're preparing. Don't use the same CV for volunteering at the fire station, working at Clicks, and trying to get that internship at Deloitte's. It just won't work. Another important factor that you need to be aware of is that most companies use something called applicant tracking systems. This is a way to save time in sorting through the CVs that meet the minimum qualifications versus those that don't. An important thing to remember about ATSs is that they don't handle very fancy graphics or fonts very well. And very often that will render them unable to read the information on your CV. And thus your CV will be eliminated from the list right away. You don't need to include your ID number or your nationality on your CV. If in fact your nationality is important for the post, that's information you may include in your cover letter. Most importantly, don't lie. Don't exaggerate about your level of experience or level of technical knowledge. The truth will come to light, and that will put you in a very bad position in relation to your future employer. Also, make sure that you review the syntax and language that you use in preparing your CV. Showing that you have trouble putting together sentences and explaining what it is that you're able to do creates a very poor impression. Lastly, it's not important to include hobbies or leisure activities. Although, as a new graduate, you might be tempted to put your extracurricular activities on your new CV. Don't. If your activities do not link to the job you're seeking, then it will just be seen as fluff. Rather, keep it short and clear. Another key tip is to edit the jobs that you present on your CV. You want to highlight the ones that link to the competencies and skills needed for the job you're applying for. You don't need to put every babysitting or camp counselor job that you've held just to show that you were employed. If you want to show how dependable and reliable you are, those are things you would mention in your cover letter instead. Now you may be asking, what if I'm a new graduate without any experience? Not to worry. There are a range of jobs that are made just for people like you. There are graduate training programs, entry-level programs, and internships. They are looking for young people who are qualified, talented, and eager to learn. So make sure that you prioritize these types of positions. If you're a student in commerce or applied sciences, there are a lot of opportunities in mining, in finance, and banking. Just take a look out. If you have graduated from a field where there aren't a lot of internships or training opportunities, then it's time to consider another strategy. Try and find organizations with whom you share a vision and offer to volunteer. When I say volunteer, I don't mean go and make coffee. I mean volunteer to get involved in programmatic work, either in research, in project design, or in project management. An important thing about offering to volunteer is that just because it's not a job doesn't mean you should take it lightly. You should apply for a volunteer opportunity with the same level of professionalism as you would for a job or an internship. And if none of these options work for you, my advice is network, network, network. We live in the information age where you have access to all kinds of people through various social media platforms, including Mighty's Connect. That's a great way to connect with your school's alums and find out if they're working at the company of your dreams, how did they get there? Where should you start? Who should you talk to? So networking is really an undervalued but very powerful tool for finding your next job. So you found the job description, you've worked on your CV. What's next? A cover letter. Do you even need a cover letter? Isn't that old-fashioned? The answer is no. The cover letter is a powerful marketing tool to introduce you and humanize you to the recruiting committee. In your cover letter, you don't just want to repeat what you've written on your CV. In fact, this is your opportunity to let them know why you alone are uniquely qualified for the position they're advertising. Most importantly, it's also a place to get all the little things right. First, who are you addressing the letter to? Make sure it's not dear sir or madam. Take some time, do some research on the company that you're applying to, and find out who's in charge of HR and address the letter directly to them. Your cover letter is also a great place to demonstrate that you've done research on the company you're applying to, and you can make a strong case for why you are a good fit for them. Remember, you're one of hundreds of applications applying. This is a space for you to stand out. Many job applicants make the mistake in their cover letters of focusing too much on themselves, talking about the opportunities they've had, talking about the things they enjoy doing, or the skills that they enjoy practicing. In fact, the cover letter is a space for you to explain in direct relation to the job spec why you are a good fit, why the company does excellent work, why you want to be a part of their team. Make sure you take a look at the example of what not to do in a cover letter and address some of the weak points outlined next to it. You found the job you want to apply for. Now it's time to prepare your cover letter. Now I'm going to explain to you how to structure your cover letter in order to wow the recruiting committee. First, you want to introduce yourself and explain where you found the advert. This is important because recruiting firms and HR departments frequently track where applicants are coming from. Secondly, you want to explain how your skills and work experience match exactly with what the company is looking for. Following that, you'd like to tell them about your qualifications and your experience. If you're short on experience, this is an opportunity to translate some of your experiences and skills that you've acquired during your academic career into characteristics that would be important for the job, explaining your willingness to learn, your work ethic, and your ability to correct yourself when you make mistakes. Lastly, you want to reaffirm your passion and enthusiasm for the organization that you're applying to. Part of affirming your enthusiasm for the company is making sure that you get the name right. I can't tell you how many times I've started a letter that says, "Dear Santam," and ends up with "Thank you, Outsurance." Proofread, proofread, proofread. These are the little things that make a big difference when your application is being evaluated. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and if you have more questions or would like more advice, please visit us at www.cvgeeksquad.coza.